Hello, family. Welcome again to another session of the Real Awakening channel. I am your host, Mrs. Independent, and we are going to look into ballistic expert Colonel Mangena's evidence so far. So let's go to Pretoria High Court. And as I always say, I am not a lawyer, but just an honorable member of the Court of Public Opinion. So let's get into it. So far, I think everyone, including myself, we get to understand the basic duties of a forensic scientist or technician, what basically they are doing, our analysts or the experts, as Colonel Mangena is being referred to. He's an expert. So basically, their basic duties is, cataloging the crime scene evidence, testing evidence samples in the lab, writing crime scene investigation report based on the data gathered, doing crime scene reconstruction, and collect crime scene samples such as bullets, fragments, and shell casing, analyze the crime scene evidence, perform lab tests using hair or tissue sample or gunpowder, and provide expert testimony in court regarding their findings. That is the main one. So now when we look at Colonel Mangena, he has 20 years expertise and experience in the field of forensic ballistics. But there is something that is not coming together to give us that confidence that he gave when he was testifying on Oscar Pistorius case. Okay, I'm not gonna be comparing the two, because these are the two different crime scene altogether. On Oscar Pistorius, the gun was there, right? The gun was there. Oscar said what he did, it was a mistake. All right. In this instance, there is no gun. And there is no gun, and there are no bullet, there are no casings that were found there on the crime scene. So you get what I'm trying to say, I hope. 2 bullets at the scene, one fragmented to a point where it cannot be used, and the other one was taken for testing. Okay, so I'm not going to be too much into technicalities of the evidence that Mangena gave and the cross-examination of Mnisi. I'm not going to be into that specific. But as a human being, as a person who listens to the way Mangena answers questions, one, there is doubt. I don't really believe what he's saying is the totality of what happened, and is it's the true story of what happened. And the results that he got was based solely on forensic ballistic only. So it looks like the evidence that is giving it has been influenced in some way or the other. So the reason why I'm saying that, just calm yourself down. I'm having a video where Mangena said something so
strange,
like it's so
odd.
It makes you wonder and question his evidence and his expertise in that court. It's scary what he said. It shows like he's one-sided. So watch the video till the end so that you can hear what he said. So before we go there, let's listen to Advocate Mnisi when he questions him about the integrity of his work.
As an expert, he's perceived as a neutral position. That's what Is it correct that the perception of your position is one that should be as follows? You are in a forensic science laboratory, investigating officers who are foot marshal and foot soldiers, bring exhibits to you, you analyze them, you give them results, they see what you do with those results, not so.
I'll compile the report and give it to them.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
And the reason why that is so is because you want to maintain the integrity of the very same institution that you're working for. So, and not so, which is the South African Forensic Science Laboratory in the ballistic section, not so.
So now when it comes to the physical integrity of that gun, okay, we heard that the muzzle was worn out, right? And two, he went himself to go and fetch the gun at SAP 13. He took the gun stayed with him for some time, whereas the gun was in an open bag. And he's trying to defend that, but what I understand is even if it was going to be destroyed, it still should be preserved in an integral way, because if it's okay to leave them open like that, it means anyone can just go and put his hand in a cookie jar and then I understand. And for the fact that he mentions and acknowledge something so bizarre is when he tells the court that he doesn't listen to the evidence of the people who were in the house, of the witnesses who were there in the house. He actually said it that he didn't even interview them because they can tell you something else. And this is a pattern because was it last week? Yeah, it was last week where he said he rely only on ballistic, on ballistic evidence. So if people are saying there were more than 2 gunshots, he cannot take that information. What he knows is because he found 2 bullets on the scene, then he relies on that and he can confirm that there were only 2 gunshots that went off. Even when he was told, like, not only one person, the witness, but 2 witnesses mentioned that there were more than 2 gunshots that went off, he still doesn't take that. So now, what kind? Instead, he makes some assumptions. And you remember with the gun as well, when he was told, like, 2 witnesses said it was a gun with a wheel, and he was like, no, it can never be that, it was a 9mm. And he said, he came with an assumption again to say, normally in the situations you can find that the other suspect had a gun. He's coming with that assumption as well. Yeah, so now without wasting your time, let's get to listen to this, and then you'll tell me in the comments section what do you think. Now after hearing this, you tell me what do you think.
I was with Harinel testifying. One thing that he said it's better to prosecute a criminal than to defend a criminal, and I agree with him.
So whatever it takes to get the results that are for prosecution and not for defense. So guys, remember to like, subscribe and share this video and comment, because I read all your comments. Please comment, and yeah, until the next video, bye.